All right, you want to lose 30 pounds in 90 days? Yeah, I bet. Who doesn't? You want to do it and you want it to be extremely easy. Of course. I can do this, I can make this happen, I can even show you, but the reality is, you know you, and I have a feeling I know you too. But anyway, welcome to Walk Talk Vent. Let's do this.
Hi guys, welcome back. Listen, today we're going to visit a really fun YouTuber named Stephen Kim, and he's going to tell us how he went from a skinny guy to an overweight guy and how he plans to get back to skinny. He's such a fun guy. He seems like a very neat person that's easy to root for. So with that being said, let's hear what he has to say.
This was me in 2014. I weighed 175 pounds, and I didn't know it at the time, but I was in the best shape of my life. And this is me today, June 2022. I now weigh 233 pounds, and according to BMI standards for my height, I'm clinically obese. Oh no! Definitely overweight.
That was great. Did you see how on the TV screen he had the giant burger, right? And then he had the burger and fry socks. Very classical, Stephen. We love it.
I know this not just by the numbers on the scale, but because I've been living it. My clothes don't fit properly anymore. Tying my shoes is a struggle.
So that's one of the reasons I wanted to go on a diet too. I have so many clothes that I still to this day can't quite fit into. And it's a testament to how small I was compared to how big I am now, even though I'm not the biggest guy by any means. But he's got obviously a lot of nice clothes too. He'd like to be able to wear those and not just have to give them away or sell them, I'm assuming.
And it's just been getting harder to walk around with all this extra weight I'm packing. So how did I get here? How did it get this bad? Well, the truth is, this isn't my first rodeo. You see, I've been fat before. I'm quite experienced at it, actually, as much as I hate to say. Over the last 8 years, my gradual decline to my current physical state has been the result of my actions and mine alone. There are no excuses. I mean, I simply just let myself go. I've simply been eating any and everything I want without restriction. It's really no wonder why I look and feel the way that I do. I eat out almost every day, sometimes more than once per day, and I have not been skimping on the portions. My girlfriend can attest to that. You know, I actually think I may have now developed a distorted reality of what a proper portion of food is. You know, it just never seems like enough now. So here are my current body stats. I currently weigh 233 pounds with a body fat percentage of 32%.
So over the course of 8 years, right, he's went from 175 to 233, which means he gained about 60 pounds, which if you break that down per year, you know, we're talking less than 10 pounds per year. So it doesn't like come on immediately. And that's the same way that we should view it when it's coming off.
Now, ultimately, my goal here is to feel better in my own skin. So I don't think numbers are everything, but I think they are useful when measuring progress. My ultimate goal here is to go back to weighing 175 pounds. Body fat percentage, anything less than 32% would be great. I think it will just follow as I lose the weight. So, with 175 pounds being my goal weight, how do I plan on achieving this? I learned a long time ago that, at least for me, focusing on a system or a process is way more productive than trying to abstractly strive for a goal. For this reason, I'm not going to get too high or low on week-to-week numbers, but instead, I'll focus on consistency. And because I know my body will be going through different stages during the course of this journey, I plan to adjust my workouts and diet accordingly. That's still tough. In phase 1, my workouts will consist of stretching, light cardio, and exercising with machines. I gotta get this body limber again. It's stiff as a board right
That's what she said.
now. As for my diet, I used a total daily energy expenditure calculator I found online to tell me how many calories I should be consuming to lose weight. To maintain my current weight, I would need to consume 2,400 calories per day. But in phase 1 here, I'm going to lower that to about 2,000 calories per day. My macronutrient breakdown will be 40% protein, 30% carbs, and 30% fat. For protein, my diet will consist of mostly eggs, chicken, salmon, lean beef, and protein shakes. For carbs, I'll eat sweet potatoes, vegetables, oatmeal, and fruits. And lastly, for fats, I'll consume avocados, nuts, almond butter, and olive and coconut oil.
So real quick, when I look at his diet, I think that looks really down to earth. If you agree that it looks down to earth and reasonable, let me know in the comments.
In my personal experience, I see better results when I have a few restrictions in my diet. And so for that reason, I plan to cut out or cut back sugars, soda. I'm going to be drinking my calories, as well as alcohol. Mike Tyson famously once said, "Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth." So even with this plan and my best intentions, I know this journey will not be without its obstacles. When it comes to my mind, I will do everything I can to not let excuses and laziness influence my progress. When it comes to my body, because I have been so inactive for the past couple of years, I want to make sure I'm patient and careful not to overexert myself. I have some previous injuries and soreness in my lower back, elbows, knees, and feet, so I want to make sure I'm smart about listening to my body. It's been rough these past 8 years. Sometimes to make myself feel better, I tend to joke with my friends that I've been gaining weight, sort of like an actor does for a role, except my role isn't for a movie, but it's for this YouTube channel. Matter of fact, just the other day, I had a friend of mine who saw me for the first time in months and called me out and said, "Hey, what happened? You got fat." I will say it felt pretty good to tell him, "Hey, I'm gaining weight for a YouTube channel," which really wasn't the case, but here we are.
That's so interesting because the first 2 times that I quit sugar and kind of shrunk down and lost a lot of weight, I kind of regretted that I didn't document it on a YouTube channel, And the only positive of this surgery that I went through in November when I gained this weight and was kind of feeling down and depressed about it, the only positive was I was watching a lot of YouTube videos. I was really enjoying the idea of doing a channel, right? And I knew that I loved walking, and I had always said in the past that I would have loved to put my journey of losing weight on YouTube. So I kind of had the same thinking he did, but I like what he's saying here. He's saying that, he was kind of using it as an excuse, so I guess people wouldn't think as harshly about him gaining so much weight. In my case, I'm glad that I gained a little weight to show you guys that it doesn't have to be impossible to lose the weight. We'll do it together.
The way I see it, this is my Raging Bull. This is my Full Metal Jacket. This is my Chapter 27, my American Hustle. What other Christian Bale movies are there? Vice. The goal here is to go from Andy Dwyer to Star-Lord. So I have no idea how this series will play out, but one thing I do know is that I will not give up. I will not stop until the job is finished. If you're interested in following my journey, please consider liking this video, subscribing to my YouTube channel, and ringing the bell so you can be notified when my next video drops. If you're in a similar predicament, whether it's to lose weight like me, or maybe gain weight, or maybe you just want to shake things up in your life, let me know in the comments below. We can work to accomplish our goals together. And so, with that, enough talking, enough thinking. It's now time to get to work.
Bravo, Stephen Kim. And if you guys could have heard the music that he had playing in the background, he's got a really good flavor for music that I think you'll enjoy. So visit Stephen Kim's YouTube channel, subscribe to it, and then you can kind of see what happened in his journey, because this video here is 2 years old. With that being said, guys, go grab your shoes. Let's go for a walk.
Good morning, Venters.
Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about my night. Last night I had the last bit of my supper, probably around 5:45, maybe 6ish, right? And then I had remembered that I wanted to go ahead and start not eating after 7:30. So I had a situation where around 8:30 or 9, I kind of went into the kitchen, was ready to grab that, last little tiny snack that I might normally eat. But I caught myself and I remembered that Mala had said, hey, I'm game, no more food after 7:30. So here's the rule with that. If you end up finding that you accidentally eat something, absolutely no big deal. A lot of times we eat on accident. It's not necessarily that we were hungry or purposely breaking a rule. But if you decide that you want to join me and Mala and not eat after 7:30 just for this last month, right? And of course, there are some people that swear that if you just eat during the daylight hours, and avoid food during the nocturnal hours, that actually they've had success losing weight that way. We're adding it as a baby step. Some of you might be adding other baby steps. Lily, you said the other day that you were going to go ahead and quit sugar. And I believe you said you were on day 1 of that adventure, literally 2 or 3 days ago. So I wish you the best of luck. Remember the rules, Lily. If you accidentally do eat sugar, don't give up on it. Just try to immediately go back to staying away from sugar. I think a lot of times we eat something and we just figure, heck with it, right? And we never stop eating sugar. Sugar is one of those things, though, that for a lot of us, we start getting into the type 2 diabetes type of route in life. And from what I understand, because I talked to a gentleman once, he was an Uber driver, and it was interesting because he took me from an urgent care home, and when I was in urgent care, I was kind of telling him about, my situation around my tailbone. And by the way, in case you're wondering, I'm totally fine. It's just one of those things where when you have these issues, you're constantly kind of freaking out about it, and that's not good for your mind to constantly be thinking about negative things. But anyway, I had this conversation with him, and he looked like the strongest, thinnest, healthiest Uber driver ever. Looked like the type of guy that probably played sports, and not only played sports, but was probably really good at whatever sport he would choose. He just looked incredibly athletic. He ends up taking out his cell phone and showing me a picture of what kind of looks like a small little tiny yellow blister that was at the bottom of his foot. And then he scrolls his pictures up, and you slowly see this patch of skin get bigger and bigger and bigger. But again, even as he's scrolling through the pictures, it just kind of looked like a blister at the bottom of his foot. Anyway, as he's scrolling through the pictures, he ends up telling me, he goes, look, I have type 2 diabetes. I was a mail carrier, so he's a mailman walking around constantly, right? And he gets this little sore at the bottom of his foot. But because it was such a tiny sore, and because he had never had too many experiences with his type 2 diabetes prognosis, or whatever you want to call it, he didn't think much of it. Now keep in mind, if you're a mail delivery guy and you have a little sore at the bottom of your foot, just like anybody else, you're just thinking it's a blister and you're moving on. But anyway, he's proceeding through these pictures, and this sore just wasn't healing. It was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But even the bigger it got, it just looked like a piece of yellow, dead skin. Anyway, as he keeps proceeding, he eventually shows that one day he decided to rip off that skin, because he's thinking, well, heck, if it's a blister, I'll rip off this skin. And then he knew he was in trouble, because as he shows the skin ripped off, all of a sudden you see that the tissue underneath this little patch of skin, or whatever the heck it was, it looked kind of like dead zombie flesh. Whatever dead zombie flesh looks like, that's what it looked like to me, right? And so he proceeds to show me that over the past, I don't know if it was months or years or what, but he proceeds to show me how this patch of skin and everything just keeps getting worse and worse and gnarlier and gnarlier. And his last picture was of 3 toes instead of 5. So they ended up chopping out a really giant patch of his skin and cutting it out. And that's what happens to folks on diabetes. A lot of times they are in danger of losing not only a piece of flesh or a couple of toes, but ultimately you can lose your leg, you know? When I guess when the disease sets into certain parts of the body, the only answer, I guess, is to amputate. And when you see that, and when you're looking at a guy that looks completely healthy, and all of a sudden he's an Uber driver because he can no longer be a mail carrier, that's kind of freaky. So if any of you guys are in that pre-diabetic stage like I am, one of my game plans is at the end of the month, I'm going to reach out to the doctor and have him redo, my lab work. Let's see where we are. And it's one of those things where if I go get my lab work done and it's a lot better like I'm hoping it is, it's one of those things where maybe this will be the time where I just decide to stay off the processed sugars for forever, I have nothing against fruit, and I'll keep eating fruit, but if there's ever a situation where I just, my A1C numbers keep getting worse and worse or what have you, however that works, I'll talk to the doctor to make sure I have a better understanding of it. But, if avoiding sugar and losing weight and keeping your cholesterol at bay is something as easy as modifying your diet, staying away from sugar, and walking every day, right? Then heck, I think we owe it to not only ourselves, but our family members to go ahead and do that, So Mala, let's do this. You and me, we're going to root on each other. Let's see if Sheila, Sherry Ann, and anybody else wants to go ahead and join us. And you want to know something? If you're one of my viewers and you're in really good health, really good shape, there's nothing wrong with your little, 8:30 p.m. snack or whatever, if it's not hurting your health. But if you're ready to baby step it up one more step, that's why I'm doing it. Mala, I'm assuming that's why you're doing it too. I know a lot of times you're up at 1 or 2 in the morning, Mala, so you'll have to make sure to avoid the kitchen on those days when you can't sleep so well. So you have people like Lily that have decided that, hey, finally, day 60, day 65, whatever day Lily's on, she might even be on day 70, she's decided that, hey, I'm ready to slow down on the sugar. And a lot of us are. The only problem is you got to remember sugar does have some really addictive properties. So when you do your plan, it's okay if you fail or struggle with it. What's not okay is quitting. Don't quit. You got this, Lily. Okay? And listen, I know sometimes I'm guilty of making quitting sugar sound easy, but remember, you guys want to hear something funny? It's on this same line of thinking. I tell people that to get off the milkshake and start losing weight, put a banana, milk, and ice in a blender. But I found out that that is a shake that vegans drink to gain weight. So maybe when I was drinking my shake and talking about it, maybe that's why a lot of people were like, do you have any idea how much sugar's in a banana? Do you know that when you blend a banana and ice, it kills the fibrous bonds in there? Takes away the fiber content, so to speak, right? And maybe that's why, because maybe vegans technically use bananas and milk and stuff. Now, I guess vegans wouldn't use milk, but I guess they could use almond milk or something, right? But anyway, it's kind of a vegan way of gaining weight, the old banana and avocados and stuff. But I guess my thinking is, well, they might use that, and they also have, on some videos, they also mix that sometimes with oats, which again is one of those meals that I don't use to gain weight. I use it to lose weight. So that just shows you there's more than one way to skin a cat. Lily, what's going to happen if you quit sugar is you're going to notice absolutely nothing for the first week and a half other than the fact that you're going to kind of miss pleasuring your sweet tooth. But literally, because you're already walking, and I assume you're already drinking water like crazy, unless part of your sugar consumption was drinking calories, I think that's how a lot of us gain weight. It's the soda pop. Remember the other day we were talking about the guy that, was talking about quitting soda for water and eliminating sugar? Whenever anybody eliminates sugar, it has a really quick effect, unless they're starting at day 1. In your case, Lily, you're already pushing day 70, I think. So, with that being said, it should only take you a week or two before you start to notice that some extra patches where you're a little fat might actually start to dissipate. A lot of times guys, we hold fat in our gut, and a lot of times women hold fat in their waist and their butt area, And sometimes when women lose weight, one of their boobs can get bigger than the other, and sometimes certain people lose weight better than others. The main thing is not to get discouraged. The main thing is to just keep forward with it. So, if I end up telling you, oh my goodness, I accidentally ate this, that, or the other, an apple or an orange or something, just know it probably wasn't on purpose as much as it was on accident. Everybody needs to think about stepping up their game going into this last month, unless, once again, that's not your overall game plan. It's always important that you stick with your game plan, because nobody else is living your life but you, right? So let's check this out. Let's review what your boy's done. So before this challenge, I tried to get myself used to walking again. Again, in case you're a new listener, I was coming off of a surgery. And during that surgery, I gained a lot of weight because instead of avoiding sugar, I sought comfort in sugar, right? I was laying down, not sitting, because I couldn't sit down. But if you're laying down all the time, that's probably not too good for your weight either. So when I started, the first thing I did was I did a couple runs with the camera. I wanted to make sure I was capable of walking without too much discomfort. And I wanted to make sure that I was okay with doing it while holding a camera. That took a couple of days. I had to get my computer and computer gear up to par. And so I ended up kind of eating sugar for an additional week or so. During that additional week, instead of 181 or 182, I was a little bit closer to 184, 185, 186. I had no idea that those extra couple of pounds would be that challenging to get off. Instead of eating ice cream, I immediately went to the banana, milk, and ice. The reason I did that wasn't because I wanted to get addicted to bananas and ice and milk instead of ice cream. You got to remember, there's always a method to the madness. And my thinking wasn't anything to do with gaining weight. My thinking was, how can I get off the ice cream that I'm constantly wanting to eat? And so the banana blended up helped me do that. I ended up ultimately ditching the banana and milk for basically no snack at all. If I do have a snack, it'll be a salad, it'll be carrot sticks, it'll be snap peas, celery, right? Those type of things. For breakfast, instead of eating Captain Crunch, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and Fruit Loops, and when I didn't eat those things, I would eat two eggs, 3 pieces of bacon, and a flour tortilla that was warmed up, right? So it's not like I was eating good at all during that time. I mean, I was eating good. Trust me, I was eating good. Too good, if you know what I mean. So instead of that, I was slowly able to go on Rice Chex, no sugar, okay? Do the Rice Chex with no sugar taste good? I think they still taste good with no sugar. You might find that it tastes more like a bowl of sugar with salt in it because it's just not very sweet, right? But what that did was that made it where I could easily transition to plain oatmeal, okay? And when you transition to plain oatmeal, pretty soon you feel like you're fueling your body in the morning rather than indulging in some sweet dessert-like cereal, okay? So imagine a situation where I didn't drink soda, I drank sweet tea. The way I baby stepped off sweet tea, and I've said this before, I went to semi-sweet tea, and then I kind of diluted it half and half with, drinking water. So you got half of a glass of ice with drinking water, and then the other half is the semi-sweet tea. And then I ultimately got to the point where now if I drink tea, it's totally unsweetened. So what happens is you don't do these giant leaps, I didn't do everything in one day. Over the course of time, you slowly get to the point where you're eating oatmeal, and your thought behind the oatmeal is that you want to make it boring, right? Sherry Lorena made her oatmeal delicious and she's enjoying every bite. The only problem is that type of sweet oatmeal might make you think that you're eating something super duper healthy, but I don't think her oatmeal was the healthiest version. By eating plain oatmeal, I'm able to get to the point now where I almost never eat before, I don't ever eat before my walk now. And when I get done from my walk, about 2 or 3 days out of the week, I'll just bust open a packet of oatmeal, right? No big deal. And I only eat the one packet, not 2, 3, or 4. And then many times, guys, I'm able to just kind of skip breakfast. And even if you don't skip it entirely, let's say you just delay it. So instead of at maybe 8 or 9 in the morning, maybe you delay your breakfast till 10:30. By doing that, you're putting yourself in a really good spot where you should be able to skip a snack. So even if you don't skip your breakfast, by delaying your breakfast, you can skip that mid-morning snack. All right, and that's huge because you got to remember, if every snack is 100 or 150 calories or 200 calories, and you're all of a sudden avoiding those calories, in addition to extending your walk, right? If a half-hour walk kills 150 to 200 calories, and some of you guys might be really booking it, you might even kill a handful of more calories on top of that. So all of a sudden we have this really neat dynamic where you're lowering your hunger, because that's the real key. If you're going through life with these pains in your stomach, like feed me, feed the beast, right? If you're going through those times, we got to find a way to counteract that. And the best way to counteract that is to get rid of the sugar. It's the sugar that makes your body always crave food, okay? So again, Lily, you're going to see some magical stuff happen probably in the next 5 to 10 days if you can try to stay pretty strong in your resolution to quit sugar. So imagine my situation. Half the week I wake up and I eat oatmeal after my walk, of course. And the other half of the week, I delay that oatmeal. Or sometimes I skip it altogether. If I skip it, then I make my first meal usually around 10:30, and it's just kind of a snack, just to get me through a couple hours till lunch. When I'm having lunch now, and it's not like I'm having the best lunch, a lot of times it's just a little microwave meal, but I'm not necessarily having a giant dinner microwave meal. It might be one of those little 99-cent Michelina meals. Now you might be thinking, God, Jesse, those are loaded with sodium and preservatives, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if that's true or not. What I do know is that the portions of the little 99-cent Michelina, microwavable lunch, the portions aren't huge. And that's really the key to weight loss, right? When you can start having smaller, more reasonable portions. So a lot of times that's what I'll have for lunch, or I got some of this multi-grain bread. Do you remember the gentleman that lost 70 pounds in 6 months? He recommended this Dave's bread or something. So I went to the store and they have that bread, but instead of getting that, I just bought some multi-grain bread that, according to the packaging, is supposed to be healthier than white bread, right? So I might make myself a little sandwich with some lettuce on there, right? And again, the main thing that I'm thinking is portion control. There used to be times where I would eat one Michelina's microwave meal and I'd still be hungry, so I would go ahead and make a second one real quick. And a lot of times that was the type of lunch I would have. Or I would get in the car and run to Burger King real quick and get a Whopper or something, okay? When I go to places like Burger King, instead of getting a meal deal with a large drink and large fry, I'll just get the Whopper. So even when I go out, guys, even when I go out shopping, a lot of times, or shopping for food, excuse me, a lot of times I try to make the best decision that I can, and you can do this too. A lot of places like McDonald's and Burger King used to sell salad options. For some reason, I don't think they have the salad options anymore, but the fast food area, the fast food joints that you visit might have those salad options. You know, get yourself a chicken Caesar salad. That's probably going to be a lot better for you, you know, than a Whopper or a Chicken Club or a BLT or something, right? So even when we go out, we can always make smarter decisions. It's easier to do now, or it should be for you. Why is it easier now? Well, because think about it, guys. Right now, I bet a lot of you are already naturally walking more. You're avoiding sugar a little bit more than you were. So that even if you are eating sugar, I'm sure it's not as much, right? And if you can just get to the point where every time you eat a meal, see if there's something that you can take away from that meal. For example, see if you can ditch those French fries, right? See if you can ditch that soda. See if you can maybe take the top bun off of your burger and just have the bottom bun, you know, bust out a fork. All these little things we do are really excellent ways of lowering our caloric intake. So can we shrink our stomachs? I don't know if we can shrink our stomachs, but I know that we can ultimately shrink our hunger, and that'll ultimately lead to a lot of weight loss for us. So again, you're gonna see a new Jesse this last month. I didn't eat last night. I'm gonna attempt to do it again. We're gonna do it one day at a time. And if you're game and you wanna join me and Mala, let's do this together. It's a lot easier when you're reaching into the bag of pretzels or the bag of Doritos. It's a lot easier to say, you know what? I know my teammates aren't eating this. I'm gonna go ahead and put the chips away and I'm not gonna eat any. So, again, it's gonna kind of, I guess, appear like I'm doing some sort of intermittent fasting, but I normally eat my dinner at 5 or 6 anyway. So it's not gonna affect the dinner. The only thing it's going to affect is the snack foods that you're eating after dinner. And listen, there's ways to cheat this. If you eat your dinner at 5 and then get 1 or 2 snacks in before 7:30, just to do the challenge, but you know, still eat your snack, you're cheating yourself. The point of not eating after 7:30 is to avoid those snacks. Now, if you still are weak, so to speak, and you do end up eating a snack, don't beat yourself up on it. Just try again the next day. Remember, even if you can eliminate that snack half the time, that's a win. Every little thing that your wonderful human being imagination can come up with is going to be a win, okay? And I'm a firm believer, put on your house slippers, even if it's in the night, walk 3 or 4 houses down, walk 3 or 4 houses back. Everything you can do, just get used to being a walker, because guys, congratulations, you're walkers now. You've been doing it for a month, you've been doing it for 2 months straight. You're walking more and more every day. You're doing the right things. This is the month where we're going to start to notice a big difference. You know, you might think, oh my God, I don't consider 2 or 3 pounds that big of a difference. Guys, that's the scales tipping in your favor. Okay, and remember, if you didn't start walking, if you didn't start drinking water, and if you didn't start avoiding the sugars, there's a good chance that instead of 2 or 3 pounds less, you would have been 5, 6, 7 pounds more. So just try to remember, there's a lot of positives to doing what we're doing. I firmly believe if I wouldn't have started this channel when I did, I probably would have gotten up into the 190s. That would have made it that much tougher, okay? So if you're at home and you're thinking about joining us, you're taking mental walks with us, now is the time. get your shoes on, start the process. It's very simple. Baby step your way. Don't wake up tomorrow and just cut out sugar and try to do the same things that I'm doing. Baby step into it. Start with as little as a 10 or 15 minute walk. Hey, good morning. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Beautiful dog.
Thank you.
So yeah, start in the morning with a 10 or 15 minute walk. Start by eliminating one of your sodas, right? Let's say you have a soda for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Eliminate one of those sodas for a tall glass of ice water, okay? If you're trying to quit cigarettes, don't just throw the pack away, right? Because you're just going to go down and buy another pack that way. Instead, go from 20 cigarettes a day down to 19, down to 18. If you're really trying to slow down your beer consumption, when you get home after a tough day and your husband or wife hands you your first or second beer, try to only drink half as many as you were. Look, I'm a firm believer that every little thing you do is going to have a multiplicative effect down the road. And remember, everybody will tell you, it's so weird. Some people will tell you to cut calories to lose weight because that's the overall process you have to go through. But then you have other gurus telling you diets don't work. You can't lose weight even if you restrict your food. And so it's really easy to get mixed messages. The truth is, your body doesn't like to get rid of the fat. It likes to hold on to it. And if you get rid of the sugar, pretty soon your body has no choice but to kind of feed off of your fat. But the process takes time. For some of us, it takes 45 days. For some of us, it takes 60. I'm sure for others, it might take 75 or 100 days. But my God, look how fast. Guys, look how fast the past 58, 59 days have gone. We can do this. We're gonna do this. You're gonna see me do a shrinking act here, literally, this month. And in the process, we're gonna start to really have some amazing comments. And as we lose weight, we're also gonna have some other comments where people wonder, are you cheating? Are you doing something else, right? If you are doing something else, good for you. We call it extra credit here, okay? So if you want to be one of these people that in addition to walking and drinking water, you're at the gym 5 days a week, good for you. If you want to get to the point where someday you don't walk but you jog, that's a baby step in the right direction. Good for you, okay? Now, remember what I always like to tell people, if you're getting in your 50s, 60s, and 70s, if you're able to run comfortably, great. But if you start to feel ankle, knee, hip, joint pain, play it by ear. You don't want to get to the point where you're injured and you're in a situation where all of a sudden you're starting over. Starting over is no bueno. It's no fun. And whenever you put yourself in that situation, you have to mentally fight that war again. Whenever you stop anything, how do you get it started back up? Not very easily. Thank goodness with our plan, you can always baby step right back into it, hopefully, okay? No guarantees. So again, the moral of the story, your boy's not gonna be eating after 7:30 in the evening. And if you're ready to join me on that, wonderful. If you never want to join me on that, that's okay too. But whatever you're doing, ask yourself this: would it be possible for me to increase the intensity on any one of these things that we work on this channel and be able to do it in somewhat of an easy way? Because that's what Kaizen is all about. 1% increases, not 10% jumps, not 50%, cold turkey stuff. It's little movements. Well, Jesse, if you stop eating immediately at 7:30, isn't that a cold turkey jump? No, not at all. I waited 60 days to do that, okay? And again, there's probably gonna be times where I accidentally eat a Dorito or a Cheeto or a flour tortilla, just something, right? But it doesn't mean that you say, oh, I guess it's not doable, I'll stop. No, it just means we'll get them again the next day. So Lily and all those people that are trying to quit sugar, good luck. You're doing a wonderful thing. Keep us posted on it. And remember, even if you have a bad day where you eat sugar, please don't give up. You got this. We got this. It's our month of power. Let's really get into our month of power and have a beautiful day. I'll talk to you soon.